Okay, good evening everyone. So we'll be starting our module 2, but I won't do a full length of this module. I will probably divide it in two parts because there's a lot of things to be covered. I mean, there's only 41 slides, but definitions, explanations gonna take a long time, right? There's a lot of things I have to uh, explain to you. So probably dividing this two. Otherwise, will be like I don't know, 1 hour and 30-minute session, something like that. So all right, so without further ado, let's get started. So, okay, let's go. So, lesson one, there are 5 lessons in total, right? So we're gonna do lesson 1 and 2 for this one, okay? And we'll be understanding the describe core Azure architectural components, Azure service and products, Azure solutions, and the Azure management tools. Okay, okay, let's listen. Core Azure architectural components, right? So you have to understand Azure, so it's a lot of data centers, right? So it's Azure itself is made of data center located around our globe. So these data centers are organized and made available to end users by region. So a region, right here, a region is a geographic area on the planet containing at least one, sometimes multiple data centers in the close proximity and networked together with the low latency network. The way they do that is to ensure what we call the zone redundancy, right? A zone redundant option you select when you're creating a resource in Azure. So a few examples of regions are, let's say, West US, uh, East Asia, Canada, Central, West Europe, Australian East, Japan West, Japan East, etc., right? So at the time of writing this, Azure is generally available in 42 regions, and I think I think it's more than 140 countries, something like that. Okay, and things to know is Azure has more global regions than any other cloud provider, so it says, right? And the regions provide customers the flexibility and scale needed to bring application closer to their end user. For example, the content delivery network, right, CDN, and for the example of CDN is like the Office updates when they push, and the Stream, Microsoft Stream, right? When you do a Teams live events, so it's using Stream, and for when you host a team meeting in Teams, right? It will host to the closest data center around the all the users that's participating in the meeting, right? For example, I'm in here, another user is in I'm in Shanghai, and another user is in Hong Kong, so they will choose Hong Kong as a data center. But if there's a there are people in Hong Kong, there's someone in Australia, let's say the Australia East, probably they're going to close the data center to Australian West, right? So it's close to everyone. Okay. And for most of your services, when you deploy a resource in Azure, you choose the region where you want your resource to be deployed, right? Typical example will be the virtual machine or network or storage service, right? The typical one. Okay. And there are also some global Azure services that do not require you to select a region, like the Azure AD, right? That doesn't contain any region, and Azure Traffic Manager or Azure DNS. Okay. And region pairs, right? This I don't think this idea or this was mentioned. This slide was mentioned in the AZ-103 course. I don't think it was mentioned there, but it was mentioned here, right? So the I would say the each Azure region is paired with another region, so within the same geography, right? Together making a region pair. So the exception is we don't have the I think Brazil South, which is paired with a region outside the geography, right? I think it's Brazil. Brazil doesn't have one. So the regional pair is their physical isolation. So when possible, I should prefer at least 300 miles of separation between the data center and a regional pair. Although this isn't practical or possible in geographic, right? 300 miles, it's roughly 500 kilometers. So physical data center separation reduces the likelihood of natural disasters like or power outage, physical network outage affecting both regions at once to ensure that if one region, one data center goes down, another one is still there to support all the customers. And the platform provided replication. So some services such as geo-redundant storage provide automatic replication to the paired region, right? The stuff we just mentioned, and region recovery order. So in the event of a board outage, recovery of one region is prioritized out of every pair. So applications are deployed across paired regions are guaranteed to have one of the regions recovered with priority. And the sequential updates, so Azure system updates are rolled out to paired regions sequentially. So not at the same time, right? To minimize downtime. So this effect of bugs, logical failures, and rare event of bad update. The same goes with the idea of update domain and fault domain, which we're going to introduce later. And also the last one is the data resiliency, right? Residency, sorry. A region resides within the same geographic as its pair. So to meet data residency requirements of tax and law enforcement jurisdiction purposes. And you may be familiar with the idea in Office 5, so the SAS as the multi-geo, right? So the multi-geo itself is not really targeting for that to have better user experience on network, right? It's close to me, so I have better experience. It's not necessarily and not guaranteed. It's only there for the law like GDPR. I don't, for example, when at itself the exchange is scattered into 4 data centers, right, randomly, and while there are places don't allow the data to be scattered into other regions. They just okay, it's France. I don't want it to be in England, so just centralize everything into one place. So in multi-geo, we can just move everything into one place to guarantee that okay, your data don't go around or ramming around. Okay. Okay. So geography is it's a discrete market typically containing 2 or more regions that are preserved as data residency and compliance boundaries. So the geographies allow customers with specific data residency compliance needs, security needs to keep their data and applications close, ensure the data residency, sovereign compliance, resilience requirements that's honored, within geographic boundaries. Right? So they're broken up into American, Europe, Asian, Pacific, Middle East, and Africa, right? That's something like FYI. This won't be on the exam. Okay, where's my mouse? I need to move to the next page. Sorry guys, I couldn't find my mouse in this all of a sudden. Okay, all right. Availability options, right? So these are the SLAs. So a single virtual machine, a VM with premium storage has the SLA of 99.9%. So you can quickly migrate existing virtual machine to Azure through the lift and shift. So the lift and shift is a no-code option where each application is migrated as it provisioning the benefits of cloud without the risk of costly making code changes. So by placing virtual machines in availability sets, right? Availability sets. This is the term you have to know, right? So you protect against data center failures and increase the SLA to even higher, right? 0.05% higher. And adding virtual machine to availability zone protects from entire data center failure and increase the SLA to 99.99%. Right? This is almost the highest you can have. Okay. And furthermore, you can have the multi-geo data center recovery region pair protect and provide data resiliency boundaries. What that means is, okay, I have one machine. That machine goes down. I have another machine within the same set to guarantee my service is up. Okay. Furthermore, if the whole state, like the server rack is down, I have other or the server center data center is down. I'm sorry. So they have that other data center within the same zone, for example, the West US area to cover that. And if that's down, I have Australian East to cover everything. So it's a backup to the backup to the backup, right? So, but anyway, 99.99% is the highest you can have. Okay. And yeah, availability sets as mentioned. So this one are a way for you to ensure your application remains online if a high impact maintenance event is required or hardware failure when the hardware failure occurs, right? And this made up two. It's UD and FD, right? Fault domain and update domain. So an update domain, so when a maintenance event, right, is like upgrade or just general maintenance, you have to uh, does it change something, right? So as performance update or critical security patch applied to the host. So the update is sequenced through the update domain. Sequencing updates using the update domain ensure that the entire data center isn't available during the platform update and patching. So update domains are a logical section of the data center, and they are implemented with the software and logic. And fault domain, so it's more like fault tolerance. So they provide the physical separation of your workload across different hardware in the data center. So this includes power, cooling, network hardware, and that supports the physical server hosting the server rack. So in the event of hardware that supports the server rack becomes unavailable, only that rack of server would be affected by the outage. The other server will be still up and running. Okay. And availability zone, right? The one that's guaranteed 99.99%. So these are physically separate locations within a Azure region that use availability sets to provide additional fault tolerance, right? So each availability zone is an isolation boundary containing one or more data center equipped with the independent power, cooling, and networking supplies. And if one availability zone goes down, the other continues working. The zone that are typically connect to each other through very fast private fiber optic network. So generally, it's just the Microsoft backbone network, right? When you connect to the dark fiber, right? And the availability zone allow customer to run mission critical applications with high availability and low latency replication. So your customer facing applications, you can run it on this availability zone option, right? So they're offered as the service within Azure and ensure resiliency. There are minimum of the 3 separate zones in all enabled region, right? So you can say, okay, in each region, data center region, have at least 3 data centers, sort of idea. Okay, and the resource group. Okay, this is the one that's pretty much you're gonna see every time, right? The others you may not choose or not, or it's just there, but resource groups, this is the must, okay? So it's a unit of management for your resource in Azure. You can think of your resource group as the container that allows you to aggregate and manage all the resources required for your application in a single management unit. So this allows you to manage the application collectively over its life cycle rather than manage components individually. So you can manage and apply the following resource group level like metering, billing, policies, monitoring alerts, access control, quotas, right? And there are some considerations. So when creating and placing a resource within resource group, there are a few things you have to know. So each resource must exist in one and only one resource group, right? Which means if you create a virtual machine, this virtual machine can only be in that resource group. It cannot exist in 2 separate resource group, right? It's not possible. Okay, and a resource group can contain resources that reside in different regions, right? This means if I create a resource group in Central East, Japan West, right? And I can contain, right, a virtual machine that's in West US, right? So this is the idea. It doesn't have to, okay, the resource group is here and all my resources have to be in one place. It doesn't have to be that way, okay? So you can decide how you want to allocate resource to resource group based on what makes the most sense for your organization, right? And you can add or remove a resource to resource group at any time. You can also move a resource from one group to another. So the add and remove is not at any time. So for 900, you just have to know you can remove it at any time, right? Just select resource group, click remove, typing yes, and everything in the resource group get removed, right? Everything, literally everything. But for the higher level, you have to know you can place a lock for accidental removal. Like someone just have permission, they just click remove, and everything removed. Imagine you could have like 200 virtual machines in. Not really 200, I was saying that's impossible due to some reasons. But let's say you have 20 virtual machines in there, right? Servicing application that for your customer, and someone click remove, boom, everything's gone. So you can actually place a lock there to prevent someone, to remove that. Okay. The resources for an application do not need to exist in the same resource group. However, it is recommended that you keep them in the same resource group for ease management, right? We talk about you can have resources scattered and not within the same one, but it's for convenience purpose, right? Just keep them close. Because I will imagine when you choose a resource group, you always select one that's, or virtual machine that's one close to you, right? Because you have literally better internet connectivity, right? If I'm here, I choose one in Hong Kong or Japan West. I won't choose one that's in the US, right? There is milliseconds of latency, but when you are running a lot of things, the latency can, goes up really high. Okay, where's my mouse again? Why it's not moving? Resource manager. So kind of a resource. So the resource manager is a management layer in which a resource group and all the resource within it are created, configured, and managed and deleted. It provides a consistent management layer which allows you to automate the deployment, the configuration of resource using different automation and scripting tools like Azure PowerShell, command line interface, which known as Azure CLI, Azure Portal, REST API, and Client SDKs. And when you get familiar, or you go to the next level, the AZ-103, the other training sessions. So there are ways you can, when you create some resources, right? The last step always have an automate option where you can download the script and customize on your own. So next time you deploy, you don't have to click the user interface. If you customize the script, everything will be just done by the script, right? So essentially you can delete everything and recreate everything really fast. For example, if I have something right really customized, I spend maybe 5 minutes in that, right? The next time I do it, I still have to spend 5 minutes. Doesn't matter how fluent I am within the user interface. If I have a script, right, I can just run the script, just like two command lines, and everything will be deployed, right? I don't have to manage anything. So for R&D people, this scripting thing is really useful for them, right? They have to sometimes purge everything and recreate everything, uh, you know, daily or weekly. Okay, and the deploy application resource. So updates, manage, and delete all the resource for your solution in a single coordinated operation and organize your resource. So make sure your infrastructure through declarative templates rather than the scripts you can view, and the resource are linked to by dependency, and you can apply tags to resource to categorize them for management tasks such as billing or quotas and everything. Okay. And next is the control access resource. You can control who in your organization can perform actions on the resource. You can manage the permissions by defining roles, adding user groups to the roles, and applying policies at the resource group level. So, for example, in elements, you may wish to control or enforcing naming convention on the resource, limiting which type of instance of resource can be deployed, or limiting which regions can host a type of resource. So I have one video actually in the Azure-103, right? There's someone asks a question and say, okay, I have this error pops up when I try to create something, right? So it turns out the reason is because someone placed a limit on there, so you cannot choose certain SKUs, right? Because some virtual machine costs a lot, let's say. So we don't want that. I think for his case, it's the storage account that may cost a lot. So some ITs limit that, right? So you can place some limit there to limit people creating random things. Okay. So oh, we were pretty fast actually. Yeah, I read really loud, really quick, and there's not read really quick. I talk really quick. There's nothing to read here, and I'm on a roll today. Well, so let's see. So I will just keep this lesson 3 for our next session, right? So for the above, we just go to the demo, right? So we just compensate some of the time because we've been talk all these things and you have no idea how to visualize them, right? So we just go to the Azure portal. So I download the Azure. Actually, it's a desktop client, right? Don't have to really go to the online version, right? There's a client version. It basically is the same thing you can use, right? So we go to create a resource, right? So from this, you can create a variety of resources like virtual machines, storage account, machine learning, virtual network, SQL servers, or Kubernetes, or I don't know, or like blockchain, like already a lot of things you can create, right? But let's first go to here for the resource group, right? So we click here. You can see the all the resource group I have, and the subscription for each one I'm using. It's MSD platforms. The location of each resource group, right? We talk about you can select locations for everything, and you can delete. Sorry, the delete has changed compared to the old UI, right? You have to go to each resource and find the delete of everything here, right? So that's that. I think where is the delete? Let me take a look. So oh, I have a where's the? I think there is the okay. We talk about logs here. So refresh move. Okay. So anyway, Here is where we can delete everything within a resource group, right? So that's again resource group. When you try to create a new one, okay, this pops up. So you just select the subscription you have. So from here I have two, and you can name it. You cannot put a resource group in a resource group, right? That's something you have to know. And select the region, right? All the regions that's available to you. And you have to remember something. Probably we're going to introduce in the next session is that not all the resource SKUs are supported in each region. For example, the D line or for example, DV, let's say DV SKUs virtual machine is not supported in the US, but may support in the central West, central US, right? That's an example, right? It's not true when you go there, but that's basically speaking when you are selecting the regions, for example, virtual machines, not could have arrows saying, okay, the one you want is not available in this as of yet. It could be it's someone used up all the resource. It could be like it's just not available there, right? It doesn't provide these services to you. Okay. But for resource group, it's fairly easy. Just give it a name. We call it AZ-900 demo. Okay, Central US, and go to the tags. You can give it a tag for categorizing. So this comes important when you're doing like the like alerts, security, and compliance management, right? It doesn't really matter here because there's nothing you can do here, right? If you tag it, you don't know what it's used for, and you don't know where to check everything as well because it doesn't show here unless you added the column to show that. But anyway, so for resource group, it's fairly easy. The last step is review and create, right? There's nothing really fancy here, right? Validation passed, so you just click create, right? That's it. So we do not create this one, okay? Previous, we just, why can I see the close button of this one? Uh, okay, I just discard that, okay? So if you go to virtual machine, right? So let's say virtual machine, and we create a virtual machine, which so this is going to be lesson 5, I think. But you can see that you have to select the region for this, and I can select the resource group for machine learning here. But I think the machine learning is in the Japanese close to me, but I can select the region for this to be other places, right? Other places, okay, just to make the idea. So we close that as well, and we go to the existing virtual. Oh, I don't have any. How come? I should have. Okay, subscription. All right, that's the reason. They changed the UI. I'm not really too happy with that. Okay, so we go to let's say a DC, and what else I want to show you here. So for I forgot what I want to show you. Oh, here. So I have to do the creation to show you what's there. It's not available there, right? As of now. So if I click, okay, this one, I mean AZ-900 demo, and the region will just leave everything default. Availability option. Here is the availability option, right? So you can see availability zone, virtual machine skill set, right? This is the preview, which is not covered in here, and the availability sets, right? Here's the region we the availability stuff we just talked about in previous sessions, right? The previous like 8 minutes ago. Okay, you don't have to. You can leave this blank, or you can select one, right? So if you select availability sets, it will ask you, do you have one? If you do not have one, you have to create one, right? I will open up here. So how many full domain or update domain you want to have. So if you want a clear description of this section here, I won't say too much. Just go to the Azure AZ-103 training there to find out more about this. For AZ-900, you don't have to know all this, how to create this, how this define, and how everything works. Okay, on the AZ-103, there's more demos on this. Okay, and basically that's it. So we just leave everything as default. We don't care about this, right? We just go to the disk, and I want to actually show you guys is the review and create section. So yeah, first off thing is you could have the validation fail. Okay, there's something that you didn't do. For example, here, if I select availability set and don't choose one, there will be an let's say arrow. So let's just do this, right? Using a typical one. I'm not actually gonna create this for lesson 5 actually, but just to show you what's there. Okay. because since we talk about that, so I just go to the review and create. So you can see here how much money it cost me per hour, and also we talk about the automation, right? So we can just download the template here. So it's a yeah, it's a JSON format, and yeah, I don't know, for maybe this is for 900 levels. It's very scary, right? Oh shit, I don't know code. What am I gonna do, right? But we don't have to do anything here. Right? We don't do anything for this. It's quite scary, I have to say, if you do have any coding experience or you do not know JSON or just a sales guy, right? So we don't have to worry about this too. We can customize this. So next time we deploy, we don't have to go through all that same process, right? You can see there's a lot of things I actually skipped, right? So for SKUs, I didn't really choose one. You have to pay attention to which one you choose. Their computing power is different. And disks, whether I want the premium SSD, which is going to cost money even the machine is turned down, or a standard SSD, cheaper, or standard HD, which is cheapest, right? Or I want to attach a new disk using an existing disk, or advanced options, right? Manage or manage physical OS disks, or networking, how the networking matters, blah blah blah, all that, right? So for 900, this exam, we don't care about this, right? You don't have to know it, don't worry, right? We will not go through this, but just so you know, in the automating process, you can customize all of those, right? So next time you deploy, you don't have to spend 5 or 10 minutes to do all those physical work. Okay, so that's it for the first session of the module 2. We will cover everything in the next half. Okay, what's wrong with my video?